series on sleep. And so we have talked about how sleep affects our minds and our bodies and our relationships. We've talked about the importance of bedtime routines. And so this week I thought we'd talk a few tips to help you stress less and sleep better. You know, it's no news flash. If you go to bed stressed, it's going to be harder to fall asleep and stay asleep and get it, feel refreshed and renewed in the morning. And so I have lots of, check out my YouTube channel. There's lots of great videos there on how to help you really stress. But I thought we'd talk about things specific to bedtime and how we can use them at bedtime. So today we'll look at 3 tips to help you stress less and sleep better. Before we do that, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nancy Brooker. I'm the Living in Yes coach for women who feel overwhelmed by life's demands and secretly just don't feel good enough, but are really ready to transform that inner critic and just embrace life. So they hire me to help them really connect to their inner worth, to trust themselves so that they can start rocking their relationships, stressing less, and really living in yes. So 3 tips. Tip number 1, create an oasis in your bedroom. It's logical, right? And for everybody, it's gonna look different for everyone. But at the end of the day, you just want your bedroom to be to have an environment that's really conducive to you just having a really restful night. So you want it to be dark during the night. You want to have some good shades. You want to, for somebody it might be some really luxurious sheets. Do it for them. You want to obviously have a comfortable bed. Make sure the temperature of the room is good. You don't want it to be too warm, a little bit on the cooler side. Some people like to use sound to help them fall asleep. It could be white noise. It could be the sound of crashing waves or a storm. There's all kinds of apps that you can get. Sometimes even for some people it's the sound of chatter in a coffee house, just like a low chatter. Like there's apps you can get to have all of that stuff. Or something like a weighted blanket that gives you like this deep pressure therapy. You can get those anywhere, and sometimes just the weight is really comforting and helps us sleep better. So there are lots of different things that you can do to make your room into an oasis. Choose what works for you, and make that, it's like you're walking into another world, right? It's just really calm and relaxing. Tip number 2. We've talked about journaling before. Have you tried it? Now, journaling is really great because it helps you get a really good handle on your thoughts. By writing things down before you go to bed, you're actually tricking your brain into thinking that everything's been categorized and sort of dealt with, that it doesn't really need to be ruminating over it during the night because it's been offloaded, at least temporarily. And sometimes journaling can actually give us some really great insights into what the roots of our stress are just by writing it out. It's kind of like talking it out. Not everybody wants to talk it out, but we can write it out. Journaling uses a different part of the brain. It uses kind of that creative side of our brain, and sometimes it can even help raise dopamine levels, which are like the feel-good hormones in our body. But it doesn't have to be writing. I'm not a huge journaler, even though I suggest it, and for some people it's great. It doesn't resonate with me, so I don't do a lot of it. But that doesn't mean it's not great for other people. It can even be color doodling, writing poetry, coloring or doodling. Sometimes just drawing little pictures or something, and letting your brain, associate to that picture. It'll actually associate things to that picture, and that will be how you sort of get it out of your mind. And it really triggers problem solving. Kind of like how, when you're in the shower and you're kind of, just not really thinking, clearing your mind, clearing your body, and all of a sudden you have an epiphany about something. And sometimes that's what happens with journaling. So that's a great thing to do too. Now, I'll tell you what I do actually. One of the things I do instead of journaling, if I am going to bed and I'm trying to get to sleep and something is going through my mind, or if I wake up in the middle of the night and something starts going through my mind, sometimes I'll grab something off my side table and I will just sort of, mentally say, okay, I'm putting it in here, and I'll throw it on the floor. And it somehow tricks my mind into into thinking, okay, well that's been dealt with, or that it has been categorized and it will be dealt with, and then I can fall asleep, or I can get back to sleep, and then the next morning when I wake up, there it is, and I can deal with it. So my brain knows now that it's okay to do that. It's just something I've learned. Have you tried meditation? Now, again, this one isn't for everything. This is one that I absolutely love. It's really great to help you center your thoughts, to calm your mind, reduce your stress, increase your focus, your self-awareness. Great thing to do before bed, to really clear your mind of all of these things that you're ruminating over. My first experience with meditation was horrible. This was many years ago, but I had gotten an app that was really just a timer, and you would start off with like a minute, and there was a little like a Buddha figure sitting there for a minute. You would just close your eyes and try and clear your mind, and but I had no experience with meditation, and I found that really difficult. And you had to keep trying to increase, and it did not work for me. So I kept looking and eventually I found a few different ways of meditating that I really enjoy. And so, don't get discouraged off of your first experience, because there are lots of different ways to try. There's like mindfulness meditations where you're focusing on your breath and your body and what's going on in your body and what you're feeling, how your body is functioning, that sort of thing. And always remembering that the goal of meditation isn't to, banish your thoughts. It's really to just acknowledge them and notice them, and then let them just sort of go to the periphery, because you don't need to be focusing on them. There's concentration meditation, which I love, where you use a mantra, and you focus on a certain word and you use that. It's really helpful in focusing your mind, so you're not wandering all over. And if you do wander, that's okay. Thank you, extra thoughts. Come back to whatever you were focusing on, your breath, your mantra, whatever. And there's guided meditations. These are great too. When I was having my period of time where I was having a really hard time sleeping, I would put on a guided meditation. I used Insight Timer, and I found it really helpful. So, there were different meditations for stress relief, different, you could listen to binaural beats. There's all kinds of things you could do. Just find something that works for you. Just give it a try and don't be discouraged. So the bottom line, make your room an oasis. Really, that, we talked about how important that hour is before you go to bed, and that just before you go to bed, have an oasis in your room. Give journaling a try, and give meditation a try, and just go with whatever works for you. So I'll leave you with this quote: "A ruffled mind makes for a restless pillow," and that's from Charlotte Bronte. So remember, you are awesome and amazing. Thank you so much for listening in. Please subscribe to the channel below. I hope some of these tips were helpful for you. If you are feeling a lot of stress in your life, and it's interfering with your sleep, with things that how you're showing up in the world, things that you want to do, then let's chat. I can help with that, and let's figure out how we can work together. Come over and subscribe to my Facebook page. Let's be friends at Living in Yes, or come visit me on www.nancybrooker.ca. Private message me. I would love to hear from you. Take good care.